What are the key features for this? First of all, phased approach. SSADM breaks the development process into distinct stages, which includes feasibility study, requirement analysis, logical design, physical design, and implementation. So these are the changed name of the SDLC. Okay, these are having the same stages but having different names. So logical design means design, physical design means the backend coding, implementation means like how to implement the system with the new system. So these are the different phases which are step by step we have to follow. Then formal documentation, it places great emphasis on producing detailed documentation which serve as a clear blueprint for developers and stakeholders. So it emphasizes on producing detailed documentation, whatever the things we are doing. Okay, even we are making a button, so we have to add its documentation, like this is the, for example, login button. So how this will work, and if we click on this button, then what will be the next screen on which we what will be the next screen which is visible to us. So like this we have to document all the things. Okay, so then also we have to document the code for those modules, so that if in future any other developers or any other programs we hire for changes, so they can understand all the things through documentation, and then they can easily understand that okay, this is the point, here we have to change the code, or here we have to you can say design, or we have to change the color for the front end. Okay, so this is the benefit of documentation. Okay, then the data modeling, it uses tools like DFT, ERDs, and normalization techniques to analyze and model the system data. So as we have discussed previously, DFTs and ERDs are used to model the system data, like how data will flow within the system, and how different stakeholders will use the system. Okay, so for example, if you people take an example of your own LMS, okay, so now you people are only allowed to view your own courses. You are not allowed, like you don't have access to any other diploma courses. Okay, so this is how we have limit the access of the users, like different users have different access, and they can see different type of data which is relevant to those users. Do you have any question in this slide?
No.
Okay. Here is one example. A government organization redesigning its citizen registration system might use this methodology to carefully map out the data flows and user requirements in the analysis phase. So ensuring that every piece of data is captured, analyzed, and stored in a structured manner, the system design and implementation would follow the documentation produced in earlier phases. So this is one example where we can implement this methodology. Okay, then we have pros and cons. Okay, this methodology provides you clear and structured stages. Okay, so step by step we have to follow each stage for redesigning the system. Ensure thorough documentation, which is beneficial for large projects with the many stakeholders. Okay, this is another benefit, good for system with stable requirements which are not changing by time, or once we have made the system, we can use that system for next 4 or 5 years. Okay, so for those type of system, it is more beneficial. Next we have cons, can be inflexible if changes occur mid project. Okay, and this is like if we are at the design phase or development phase, and now we have to include more modules or more functions in the system, then it is difficult to again go back to the requirement phase and feasibility phase, and we have to check whether it is feasible to the system or not. These changes are necessary, or without these changes the system will work perfectly or not. So these things take a lot of time, so it is difficult. may lead to long development times as each stage is completed before the next can begin. Okay, so if feasibility and requirement elicitation are taking for example 4 or 5 months, and then in the design phase the designer team maybe they are asked to complete the design phase within 3 months. So maybe due to technical reasons or some designer may leave the project. Okay, so to hire new designers and then start working, it can take a lot of time. Okay, so due to this they can have you can say long development time, not well suited for projects requiring rapid delivery or continuous changes. So as we have discussed, it is suitable for those projects which have stable requirements. So if the changes are continuous, okay, and continuous improvements are required, then requirements are changing with time. So we have this methodology is not suitable for those projects. Then we have dynamic system development method. Okay, this is an iterative and incremental agile methodology that focuses on delivering business solutions quickly and efficiently. It is a part of agile family and emphasizes active collaboration with users, clear business objectives, and flexibility in design. So, for example, SSADM and DSTM for changes and adjustments as development progress. This makes it highly effective in environments where may evolve over time. So, this is the, you can say, okay, this is the opposite of SSADM. Okay, that is inflexible. Okay, and flow in sequentially, but this is iterative and dynamic, and we can uh, change if the requirements are changing, and we can work on them, and we can use this methodology. Okay, so what are the key features? It is having iterative development. Okay, user improvements, user involvements focus on business objectives. So iterative development means requirements are changing, so we are developing, we are we can go back to first step again, then we can move to second, then third, fourth, fifth. Okay, so again if any requirement change, then we can start from the first step, and then we can uh, iterate the project. So development occurs in small manageable iterations called time boxes with feedback from user incorporated after each iteration. So for example, in first iteration we have completed the if we take an example of website. Okay, so any e-commerce website or a clothing brand website. So in first stage we have to develop its you can say home page, then categories page. Okay, so these two pages we have to design in first iteration. Once the developers and designers develop that pages, okay, then they will go back to the users or the owner of the website for getting feedback, and if he or she needs any changes in design or any options, so they can mention them, and then in the next iteration we can implement those changes, and then we can move to the next pages and whatever the things are there. Then user involvement. Users are heavily involved throughout the development process, ensuring that the system meets their needs. Okay, as if we get feedback from the owner, okay, or whatever the users are there, so they are also involved in the development. They give feedback. On the basis of their feedback, we can implement the changes. Then focus on business objectives. DSTM ensures that business goals are the focal point of the system development process. So we have to, like for example, if it's e-commerce website, so we have to make that website in such a way that we can sell our products. Okay, we can advertise our products so that more and more customers will come, and then we can generate more sales, and we can get more profits. So this is the, you can say, one of the main point for achieving the business goal for e-commerce website. Do you have any question in this slide?
No.
Okay. So here is an example. A company developing a customer relationship management system might use DSTM to quickly develop a working prototype of the software, which is then tested and modified based on the user feedback. So this process could continue through multiple iterations to refine the system according to changing business needs. So in the CRM system, we can make it, and then we can make its working prototype, and then we can send it to the stakeholders or whatever the owner is for that software, and they can use that system, and then they can tell us like these are the things they wanted to include, or what these are the extra options which we don't need for our company. So we can include the options which they are asking, and we can say exclude the extra options which they don't need. Then pros and cons for DSTM: highly flexible, allowing the changes during development. Okay, they are development as it ensures iterative development. So faster delivery of functional software compared to traditional methods. Okay, faster delivery of functional software, close collaboration with end user ensures the system meets their needs. So when we interact with the users of the system, then we can get the feedback, and once we get the feedback, we can understand like okay, these functional areas required improvements, we have to make the changes. So these are the benefits of this approach. Then we have cons: require continuous user involvement, which can be time consuming. Okay, can be challenging to manage for large projects. Okay, if we are developing a large project, then it will be challenging to us to follow this methodology. Less emphasis on documentation, which might cause difficulties in tracking detailed system specifications. So it is not having more, you can say, emphasis on the documentation. So maybe if we have developed a large scale system, and we don't you can say we haven't keep its documentation, then maybe later in later stages when we are upscaling the system, we may find difficulties to upscale the system. So these are the cons which we can have if we are using DSTM. Okay, then we have agile methodologies. So agile is also a iterative process methodology, and in which we have like different stages, and we can go through different stages, and then we can make the changes in the system. Okay, agile is a set of principles for software development that emphasizes flexibility, collaboration, and iterative progress. Agile methodologies include Scrum, Kanban, and extreme programming. Among others, the agile approach is widely popular because of its ability to adapt to changing requirements and deliver high quality results quickly. So this is a set of principles of software development which focus on the flexibility and collaboration and iterative progress of the project. And there are different methodologies come under agile: Scrum, Kanban, and extreme programming. Okay, you don't need to go to in detail for this. Okay, you just have to focus on the agile when you are writing the assignment task. Okay, then we have key features of agile: iterative and incremental, collaboration and communication, continuous improvement. So iterative and incremental, we can repeat the steps again and again, and we can increment or implement the changes. Development is broken into small iterations called sprints or cycles, each resulting in a potentially deliverable product. So we have divided the project into small iterations, and with each of small iteration we called it a sprint or cycle, and once each cycle is complete, it give us a you can say deliverable product. So for example, in first iteration we have to design first module of the system. In the second iteration we have to design the second module of the system. So like this we have divided the system into small iterations, and we are delivering the actual product after each iteration. Then collaboration and communication. Agile encourages constant communication among developers, business stakeholders, and users. So all the users which are involved for that project, they are communicated, and their inputs matters in the you can say development. Then continuous improvement. After each iteration, team reflects on the process and identify improvements for the next cycle. So after each iteration, whatever the improvements they identify while communicating and collaborating with different stakeholders and end users, then they have to implement those improvements in the next cycle. Okay, then we have practical example of this agile methodology. In a mobile app development project, an agile team might release an initial version of the app that includes basic features. Overall, several sprints, new features are added, bugs are fixed, and the app is continuously improved based on user feedback. So, in these could be implemented in the mobile app development projects, where initially we can launch one version of the application which includes basic functionalities, and then after that release we can add more functionalities in the version. So for this one, you can take again you can take an example of this WhatsApp application. Okay, because we are using it on daily life, like we are using it daily. So I noticed changes it is having. So today I noticed that it has changed all the color of like once you send a voice note, okay, it's sending in black color instead of blue. Okay, also message sending button is black now, and like this you can see different changes. And whatever the status are you are uploading, they are showing you like Facebook stories. So these are the examples of new features in this application. Okay, then we have pros and cons of agile: flexibility to adapt to changing requirements. Okay, faster delivery of usable product features. Okay, strong focus on collaboration and user feedback. So these are the you can say benefits of the agile methodology. We can implement the requirements which are changing over time, and we can deliver the functional part, or you can say usable features of the product faster, and we can focus on user feedback. And what are the cons? Can be difficult to scale for large projects with many teams. Limited documentation may create challenges for future maintenance. So these are some of the cons for this agile methodology. Okay, do you have any questions till now?
No, ma'am. No.
Okay, so next we have prototyping. So prototyping is also a iterative approach, and in this approach we you can say give a working model of the actual application to the end user, so that they can use it and then they can observe its functionality, and if any changes are required or any improvements they need, they can send to the team, and then we can implement them in the actual version of the application or whatever the software we are making. So prototyping is an iterative approach in which a working model of the system, a prototype, is developed early in the projects, then refined based on user feedback. So we provide a prototype, and it's a working model of the actual project, and on that prototype, on the basis of user feedback, we can make changes in the system, and then we can implement those changes, and then we can release that system to the users. So the prototype typically includes core functionality, but it's not a fully developed or final version of the system. Prototyping helps clarifies user requirements and can help both users and developers better understand the system functionality before full-scale development begins. So here again, I can give you example of your own subject assignment. A human-computer interaction. You have to make a mobile application prototype, and in that prototype, you are not using any type of code, okay, and you are choosing one type of software for designing and making different options accessible, and without any code you are making a prototype. So this is one example of prototype. Like, we are not actually developing that application, we are just making a prototype for that specific scenario, and then we are submitting to the whatever the stakeholder are there or user is there, so that they can check, and if any change is required, then we can implement in the prototype version, and then we can actually develop the application. So here are the key features of prototyping. First of all, rapid development. A prototype is built quickly and iteratively to demonstrate system functionality. So once we develop the prototype, we can check whether the different options are working fine, for which they are intended to or not, or we can check like interaction with different screens, app screens or system screens are suitable or not. So like, for example, if we are clicking on the register button, if in any application, okay, so is it giving us a screen in which we have to enter the details like username, email address, password, then it's giving that screen or not, or it's when we click on the register button, it's getting to the home page of the application. So through prototype we can understand like we have connected different options perfectly or not, different screens are connected with each suitable option or not. So this is how prototype work. And rapid development means like quickly we can develop the prototype and we can give to the users so they can check and give a feedback. So again, user feedback, user interact with the prototype and provide feedback leading to further refinements. So any changes required in the design, in the color, or in the options, or you can say the text style which is used in the application for different options like login, register, home, or whatever the things are there. So we can change them in the prototype version. Then the refinement of prototypes are updated in response to feedback, and the cycle continues until the final system is fully defined. So until these users are satisfied, okay, and they are agreed with the prototype, like, okay, yes, this is now the actual thing which we are requiring from you. So until that we have to iterate the process, and we have to make the changes, and once it's fully approved or fully satisfied from the users are fully satisfied from that prototype, then we can actually implement those systems through coding or in development environment using different softwares. Okay, so do you have any question in this slide?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so again, here is an example. I have given you example of mobile prototype. Here is another example. Software company creating a new accounting system might initially develop a basic prototype that includes core features, for example, invoicing and reporting. Users test the prototype and developers refine the system by adding new features or modifying existing ones based on the user inputs. So for example, if it's a accounting system, so in accounting system we have to generate different types of invoices regarding sales, okay, regarding employees payments, or we have to check, we have to generate different reports like for example, in this month we have these sales, okay, or how many sales we have, or how many profit we have gained in this month or in the previous month. So we can compare those reports, and we can check we are going in the good direction, or we have to improve the system. So for that, the developers can create initial design and develop the system with the initial requirements, and then with the time passage they can include more options to the system, and they can you can say provide to the stakeholders. Okay, so here are the benefits. Helps clarifies user requirements early in the process. Okay, in the early stages we can clarify the requirements from the users. Like once we sometimes when we gather information from the users, okay, So whenever, for example, maybe you have seen or you have experienced. So for example, if I am a developer, okay, for example, so a client come to me, okay, he or she will say that, okay, I need a e-commerce website. Okay, so I will ask from him. Okay, so what is your brand name? Okay, what is it a clothing brand? Is it a shoes brand? Okay, or any type of other brand do you have? So he will tell, okay, I have a clothing brand or I have shoes brand. Okay, so now I will ask from her or him that if okay, so what type of things you will sale. Okay, for example, you will focus on men's. Okay, you will focus kids class, you will focus on bridal dresses. Okay, so this type of information we have to ask from the you can say owner of the business or whatever the client is there. So when sometimes client don't know, they just say that, okay, I need a e-commerce website. So they don't know anything about this, and you have to ask different questions, and then you can uh, for that also. If they don't get any idea and you don't know how to like get requirements from them, you can show them your previous work. Okay, you can show them samples, like how these are the samples which we have previously made. So these are the different options which we will add in your e-commerce solution. Okay, so okay, he will check, okay, yes, okay, yes, this option, okay, done. So like this we can get the requirements from the user in early stages, and if user is not aware of those requirements or not able to give us requirements, so we have to show them prototypes or samples so that they can give their own requirements. So this is how prototype help us. So next we have provide early visibility of the system to stakeholders. Okay, so once we are showing samples or showing the an example of the e-commerce websites, okay, then they can more uh, clear, they can give us more clear requirements for their own website. So here next we have user can experiment with the prototype and offer valuable feedback. So once we show them the prototype, okay, they can interact with that prototype, and they can give their feedback, and on the basis of that feedback, if any changes required, we can make in the system. So next we have cons can lead to unclear or incomplete system requirements if user focuses too much on the prototype limitation. So definitely the prototypes are not having the full fledged implementation of the actual system, so they will have some type of limitations. So if the end user are focusing on the limitation, then maybe it will lead us to unclear and or incompatible system requirements. Then prototyping cycles can be resource intensive. Okay, so again and again, if one time user is saying, okay, we have to change this one, okay, we will change. Next time again, we have implemented his changes, but again in the same part he is saying that again I have to change. Now I have to change this information in this function. Okay, so again and again, if they are focusing and changing one thing, so it take a lot of time and lot of resources as well. So can result in a lack of proper documentation and planning, leading to technical debt. So in prototype, mostly we don't keep the documentation. So once we don't have documentation, then it can lead to technical debt. Like we have to, you can say, for example, we have in the documentation, we have generally mentioned that, okay, this application will run on the devices which are having, for example, minimum, you can say minimum 4 GB RAM, and you can say 16 GB hard disk. Okay, but once we have actually developed the application, so now it's giving the requirements like the system which are having 8 GB RAM and having 32 GB hard disk. On that system they can install this application. So these are the technical debts like we can have in the prototype methodology. So do you have any question till now?
No.
Okay. Next we have conclusion.
Each system development method, system structure analysis development method, GSMD, ESDM, agile, and prototyping offer distinct advantage and is suited to different type of project. SSADM is best for large, complex systems with stable requirements whereas GSMD and agile offer flexibility and quick iteration, making them ideal for projects where requirements evolve over time. Prototyping is particularly useful for refining requirements and giving users a hands-on experience early in the development process by evaluating the specific needs and constraints of the project. Organization can select the appropriate methodology that align with their goals and results.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so this is the conclusion for assessment criteria 1.4. So these are the different methodologies and methods which have different, you can say, advantages and disadvantages, and they are used for different types of projects. So we have, whenever we are selecting any methodology, we have to check like the project is flexible or it's having the changing requirements, or we can change it time to time. So as per the project, then we have to select one methodology and then we have to implement. So when you are going to work on the task, so okay, you have to select like they have mentioned you that you have to select one of the methodology and you have to give the requirements. So like you have to give the justification why did you selected this methodology. So you have to mention the reasons and all these things. You can mention the examples as well. So this is how you have to carry out the assessment criteria in your tasks. Okay, so till now we have completed the assessment criteria for task 1, and I think so you don't have the assignment class for this subject, right? Remaining. Okay, so once you will have class with Dr. Lakshmi, so you will get the idea. But as I have told you, like whenever you are working on the assignment task, more focus on providing the examples and practical examples and implementation. So once you follow the pattern, so you can easily implement the things. Okay, so do you have any question in this lecture, or in these slides, or any difficulty, so you can ask?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Not clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.